Daniel, TR, congratulations on the second season of The Bravest Knight.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Surprisingly, this is a lot of fun to watch, and I love the fact that these animated shorts that rehash the stories. But Daniel, tell us. I'll start with you, Daniel. Tell us how this journey actually came about that you came up with The Bravest Knight.
When I started writing for kids, I wanted to learn the basis of children's books and children's storytelling, and to me, that was fairy tales. So I started with the Andrew Lang collections, which are, I think, around a little over a dozen, big stack of them, fairy books. They're called like the Red Fairy Book, the Blue Fairy Book, and it's very comprehensive, all the fairy tales you can think of. And if you read them enough, you start to notice that it's very limiting in terms of representation. And to me, that seemed like a bit of a travesty in what we were and weren't showing kids. So in The Bravest Knight, it was really important to me to have an openly gay protagonist, tell old fairy tale tropes, but in a new way. And it's a story that means a lot to me personally, and I want more of it out there. So all the things that we're seeing in kids media, I'm so happy to see, and I also think that we're still behind. So the more we can get, the better.
That is wonderful. TR, tell us what initially drew you into this children's series for you personally, because if I recall, I don't recall too many voice acting parts in your career.
No, I think that it just goes back to the very simple fact that I did not have, I didn't see myself if I growing up in uh in the stories that I read, that I saw, that I viewed. So to be lucky enough to be a part of something where maybe tiny that could be a tiny part of that kind of change is is profound in my small little life. It's fairly profound because it makes a difference. I think being able to see yourself, um, or the damage that happens rather when you don't see yourself, is lasting, and it is something that still drives me, and um, and still something that I live with in small ways. But and then also I think what's really amazing about this too is that you see a young kid in Cedric growing up to be fulfilled, to be happy, to be a teacher. Um, and the lie that I was fed growing up was this: being gay and growing up, all that I would experience would be sadness and misery. That's the fairy tale I was told. So to and it's not a good one, and it's not accurate, it's not right. And so I think that's what drives me, and that's what feeds me. And I like I like being part of telling the truth, if that makes sense.
It does, and a lot of us could totally relate. Daniel, tell the format that you actually use, the fatherhood of teaching a child, and I love the fact of the diversity in this series. Tell us about how you crafted these little lessons that could be taught in 10-minute intervals.
Yeah, I mean that's a very fun part of the show is getting to convey those messages in subtle and sometimes very overt ways. I come from a background in kids' books, picture books, and it's a beautiful medium, but it's also very limiting. And in a show, I get to all these lessons that I've stockpiled up because it takes a long time to make a kid's book and you only get one per. I just had a litany of things that I wanted to put in kids media, and the show gives me all these opportunities because being a knight and teaching Nia how to be a knight, like Cedric, is really about just being a good human. So there's a huge spectrum of lessons and different subjects that he can talk about how to be a better human. And what I really like about knighthood in our series is the concept of that it's not just about you. You know, it's a position of service, and in that sense, it's a position of power as well because it's a powerful thing to help people.
TR, what's the best thing about voicing Cedric and in this series for yourself?
Ah, I, there is no best thing because it all exists in that on that level for me. Um, Helping be a small helping tell the story, being a small part of telling the story, getting to work with Daniel, getting to work with Shabnam and Big Bad Boo and Hulu. The story itself, what it means to me. Uh, uh, it all exists on that level of best. So to isolate or to lift, it's impossible for me to lift anything out of that when it all exists on that level. I don't know if that answers your question, but sorry, that's the best I.
TR, when you voice Cedric and telling these stories, how much of your imagination goes into this character? Because obviously Dan's imagination goes on the screen, but when you actually voices, what do you picture in your head?
I think it is, it really doesn't change for voice acting versus when I'm actually using my this face that I was born with, and this body that I was born with. It is just the same. It's acting is interpreting what has already been created. So because it is such an interpretive art, it's you hope to through the communication through the community of talking to the creators and uh, you just hope to hit all of the aspects um, that will best serve the story. I think being aware of your place in the story, it's that's all acting. So it doesn't change for this versus anything else. You just hope to best serve what has been created and hopefully not mess it up too much.
I've got to add something here because TR looms large in my mind when we're recording as having the best and most thoughtful additions and edits. I mean, because we have some talented improvisers on our show, you know, Bobby Moynihan, and things come in and things go out, but TRs tend to be the ones that take me aback, and I think, man, that is way better. And it happens all the time when he's in the booth. So I appreciate it when that happens.
It's extremely kind.
Well said, well said. Daniel, I'm going to throw the last question to you because I always want to hear how animators answer this question because and the question is why do animated characters have four fingers?
That came up a bunch. We had the head knight in this season trying to count, and he counts up to four. And I'm like, we need to do something because when you have all your fingers up and it's four, it's just way too obvious that it's not humanoid. I think it works way better. You know, the answer I got from our animation team was pretty vague and kind of like stop asking because I had the same question, but basically they said it looks weird. It's hard to animate a hand in the same way that the hand is one of the hardest things you can draw. So yeah, I guess we just have to trust the animators, the animation team on this.
Well,
Great question.
there's a long history of that, isn't it? I mean, in all animation and puppetry, it's like
Hmm.
that's
It's way cuter for some reason. It works. It works.
It certainly works on the Bravest Knight. So Daniel, TR, thank you very much for speaking, carrying this conversation about the Bravest Knight, and especially for UTR, since you are the Bravest Knight speaking.
Not,
USA
not at
here.
all. I'm still very much learning. Yes, I'm very squire-ish. So anyway, uh, thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.